for Black girl nerds.
Hi guys, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, Steve, just to give you kind of a little heads up, we're going to go back and forth since we're tag teaming this. I'll just do a question and toss it over to Angelica, just so you're not like, oh, who's coming up next?
No problem.
Okay, so I will start. When did it hit you finally that Umbrella Academy was this big juggernaut hit? Because it is still the most streamed happening anywhere on Netflix. I was trying to think of a bigger word than just juggernaut, but yeah.
No, it's great. I love the show, and we really had a great time filming it. Myself and the cast, it was a wonderful experience, and we had a good feeling about it. We thought it was going to do well, but it really was a great surprise. I think within 2 or 3 weeks, Netflix called me and said, it's doing really big numbers internationally as well as locally, domestically, and we were like, wow. And it was just nice to know that people all over the world were sort of finding these common themes and these relatable stories that they loved and fell in love with these characters. It was just a great thing.
Well, my question is, how did you approach, now that we're in a different setting, a different time, how did you approach tailoring each character into their new life?
Well, one of the conceits was coming off of this cliffhanger in season 1 is that they weren't all going to be together in season 2. I was going to rip them apart, so they had to sort of find each other again and come back together stronger. So I wanted to sort of to challenge them to different things. Each character, I thought about the character and I thought about how to challenge the character. So, for Luther he's never been on his own. Klaus, he's a manipulator, so he finds this a gathering of people to become a cult. Allison, who can't speak initially, finds a safe haven and then finds herself right in the middle of the civil rights movement and somebody who's deep into the civil rights. So each of them sort of had a story that I felt had to be grounded in that world. And we had a little history of them before they met their own families again. So it was more complicated. I mean, Allison's married. She can't just leave Chestnut just because her family's back. Klaus has this cult he has to deal with. So it was an interesting complication for storytelling purposes.
And speaking of characters, what was your decision to add in the Swedish assassins?
I was watching a fishing show one night on Discovery Channel, and they showed the picture of these 3 Swedish fishermen, or 4 of them, that spend half the season fishing and the other half of the season they ski or do something else. I said, what happens if the other half of the season they're assassins? They fish half the season, they work as assassins. So that's where that came from. It was a weird night, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. How do you fit in? Like, where do you come up with the ideas for the openings? For the new ways to show the umbrella.
Oh, we spend a lot of time. I mean, the writers and I spend a lot of time. We love doing special cold opens. And the goal for us is the cold open either answers a question that was left hanging from the episode before, or answers a question that you won't know why we're telling you that information, but somewhere in that episode, you're going to get an answer. You're going to see why they connect. Audiences are so smart now, and it's fun. If we can get a moment to have them saying an aha moment, I get what they're trying to do. That's always fun for us.
And how do you know, Steve, how do you pick the moments that you're going to have from the comics and on the show? Because I want to talk about the white violin moment specifically, because in the comics, it's very written out how she is taken over, how her body is redesigned.
Right.
But we get to take this slow walk with her and with Vanya throughout season 1, till she hit that moment. What was that like? Or how did you make that decision of how much you're going to show?
Yeah, I mean, look, the source material, the graphic novels is definitely an inspiration, a springboard for me. But I'm very close with Gerard and Gabriel. And, I was never asked to have to do a one-to-one translation. I needed to ground the show in reality a little bit more, because to me, this was a dysfunctional family show first, in the world of a Wes Anderson dysfunctional family show. So that's what I wanted to do at its heart. And I thought also that, the graphic novel is great, but some of it is non-linear storytelling that doesn't really work in a 10-hour setting.
Right.
And some of the things I just wanted to do more grounded, and some things you see in this season are much bigger than they were in the graphic novel. So I pick and choose in terms of what works for the storytelling. And, Gerard and Gabriel are wonderful supporters of that.
Well, I just have one final quick question. If you could choose a power from any one of the siblings, who would you choose?
That's always a tough question. You hit me with a tough one. I love all the powers, but if I had to choose one, I think I'd choose 5 because I love time travel. I'm a total geek, a science geek, and I love talking about time travel. I love the time travel movies. So I think if I could time travel, even just a little bit of time, like even just a few minutes, to sort of do a conversation different or change the way I did something, I would choose that as my favorite power.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Lovely meeting you guys. Bye-bye.
You